All right, so I screwed up. This is always how you want to start out a video. So first of all, before we jump into things, this right here is the Fan Clan Master Set of Surging Sparks. Every new set release, we give away an entire Master Set. So this has everything in it. It's got all the commons, all the uncommons, all the reverse hollows, all of the illustration rares, as you can see here, the full arts, the special illustration rares, everything. It's got everything in it. We give this to one lucky subscriber, and if you want to win this, all you have to do is make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So scroll down, make sure you're subscribed, and then go back to yesterday's video and leave a like and a comment on yesterday's video. We're going to announce the winner 2 weeks from today at the beginning of the video. We're going to start the video. We're going to say who won, and then we're going to ship off this beautiful custom-etched Surging Sparks Master Set to one lucky subscriber. But I'm a dummy because I screwed it up. There's one card in here. This one right up here is Drayton. It's supposed to be a full art Drayton, but it's actually a special illustration rare Drayton. And so is this one over here. And I got an email late last night from Mr. Sayfan. I think it's Sayfan. So shout out to Mr. Sayfan for realizing how dumb I am. And he didn't call me dumb. I'm just saying it for him. But he just hey, Fanny, dude, you messed it up. That's 2 SIRs. You're missing the actual full art. So we're going to fix that right now. We're going to pull out the extra SIR Drayton, and we're going to replace it with a normal full art Drayton. And now we can confidently say that the Fan Clan Master Set is complete. So now you can, enter to win that. Come back 2 weeks from today to see if you are the winner. And with that, happy Surging Sparks release day. I hope you're finding deals on cards. I hope you're finding it out there right now on TCG Player. Booster boxes are still a little bit under MSRP, which is good. But booster boxes are a little tough to find at a decent price point. Obviously, things have changed quite a bit. The hype is there. The demand is there. It's pretty crazy. And you might be better out going to Walmart, Target, GameStop, and seeing if you can find some sleeve booster packs or something like that out in the wild. Those are above MSRP on TCG Player a little bit, which is crazy. So I hope you're finding some good deals. Hope you're pulling some fire. If not, don't FOMO. Don't lose your mind. There's a restock coming. And then obviously we have Terastral Festival. That's coming out next month in Japan. That's December 6th. I will put a link in the description down below. If you want to pre-order boxes for that, you can go over to KurosioShop.com. That is our new Japanese store. We are selling booster boxes of Terastral Festival on there. So I'll leave that link in the description. But you didn't come here to talk about that. We're going to talk about Prismatic Evolution on Sunday. We're going to talk about Surging Sparks pull rates. And my goodness, was that tough to complete. But it was really just tough because I'm unlucky. There is a couple of changes in pull rates. There are a couple of differences from what we're used to. But we're going to go into it all. We're going to lay it all out. And the reason we do this is so you can get a good understanding of what it looks like to open up 2,000 plus packs of Pokemon cards. So that's what we did. We opened up over 2,000 packs of Surging Sparks. And we do that as a storefront in order to supply singles. A lot of people like to order singles rather than chase by ripping packs, which is really a smart way to go. You want to open up a little bit, have fun with the set, but don't go crazy. If you open up, like opening up this master set of Surging Sparks took us just over 2,000 packs. So buying over 2,000 packs, booster packs of Surging Sparks, not a good idea. Like the master set is going to be worth significantly less than that. So it's not a smart idea to chase unless you can financially afford it. Like that's your cup of tea. Go nuts. But it's always best to let the FOMO settle a little bit, let the dust settle a little bit, come back, buy singles, enjoy the set during release weekend, during pre-releases, things like that, crack a little bit, and then go back, buy singles after you're done. But this is over 2,000 packs of data, so this gives us a good understanding of what pull rates look like based off of rarity. This is not a good indicator of what pull rates look like by individual cards. Now, I am of the belief that Pokemon breaks it down into different rarity categories, and there is the exact same number printed of each of those cards based off of its rarity category. So, for example, the double rare category that we are looking at first, those are your regular art EXs. I believe that even though we only pulled 17 Hydregigon and we pulled 26 Black Kyurem, I believe those are equally rare. I don't believe that there's just more Black Kyurem in existence. I think we just pulled more Black Kyurem than what we did of the Hydreigon. So I think this is a good breakdown. 2,000 booster packs is a really good sample size to give you an idea of what rarity pull rates look like. But as far as individual cards, I think a lot of people don't necessarily believe in individual Pokemon card pull rates anymore. I think most people break it down by rarity. I don't think anybody really thinks there's less Umbreon VMAX alternate art in existence than Duraludon VMAX alternate art. I think people believe there's the same amount that's printed, just based off of more rarity pull rates than anything else. So we're going to break down every single rarity category right here. We're going to go over individual numbers so you can see what it looks like, and then we'll break down rarity category at the end and base it off of past sets, the past few sets, really since Pokemon changed pull rates. Pokemon changed pull rates really starting with Paradox Rift, and made it a little bit more difficult to pull some cards, and then after that Temporal Forces is when they really started changing things up, making special illustration rares and those gold hyper rares significantly more difficult to pull. So if we break things down, here's all your double rares right here. Obviously Surging Sparks, a decently large size set, not huge by any means, not Paradox Rift, not Paldea Evolved, but it's not a small set by any means, a little bit bigger than Twilight Masquerade, so there is a fair amount of double rares. This is also our last set release for the year. We will not have any new set releases in November or December other than Surging Sparks. And then obviously January is the big one, with Prismatic Evolution being a half set, and then March is going to be your owner Pokemon set, and then Team Rocket I think in May, depending on how they do everything. But here's your double rare category right here. There's not a whole lot of excitement behind the double rares. There's a couple cards that have some potential in competitive play, like this Pikachu EX, for example, does have a lot of competitive playability associated with it. We did pull 22 of those. If you look, for the most part, there's not really anything that stands out. We talk about batching every once in a while. Now, you could make the argument that, hey, Fanny, you only pulled 17 Archaludon. Archaludon could be a good competitive card. Hydregigon, we only pulled 17. But then you look at some of the bigger numbers that we pulled. Obviously, we pulled 28 Flygon, and we pulled 27 Cerulege. Cerulege also has a lot of possibilities when it comes to competitive playability, so that's a decent amount to pull as well. So there is a little bit of a decent sized difference in between, obviously, 28 of a singular card pulled and 17, but I think that can be explained based off of sample size and things like that. So it's not too much of an anomaly in my mind as far as batching goes. Obviously, you go from 1 out of every 83 packs or every 80 packs if you talk about the Flygon, to as low as the Slacking we only pulled 17 of, which would be the equivalent of 1 out of every 131 packs. So I'm not going to go through all of these individually because you can kind of look at it on your own, but for the most part, everything looks fairly common as far as sample size goes. If we go down to the A-Spec, there are a fair amount more in this set in Surging Sparks than what we've experienced in like Stellar Crown. Stellar Crown only had, I think, 3 A-Spec. Shrouded Fable obviously didn't have many at all. And then Twilight Masquerade, I think there was a couple less than this. So we do have, 8 A-Specs in this set, or 7 A-Specs in this set, a decent amount. And again, not too many anomalies as far as batching concerns or anything like that goes. Brilliant Blender was the one that we pulled the least of. We only pulled 11 of those. And then the one we pulled the most of is probably the one you want to pull the most of, which is Precious Trolley. We pulled 19 of those. The thing is, if pull rates stay the same, which it looks like they have for like A-Specs, that does make these A-Specs, when there are more of a variety, a little bit more difficult to pull than like Stellar Crown, for example, where there's only a few A-Specs, because you're going to pull a lot more of a smaller quantity than of a smaller sample size than you are of a larger sample size like this. You're going to pull a lot less. So even though when Stellar Crown released, we pulled like 30 of each A-Spec because there was only 3 to pull, this set with like 7 of them, you pull significantly less. So Enriching Energy, we pulled 16 of. Scramble Switch, that's obviously a reprint, we pulled 12 of those. Megaton Blower and Energy Search Pro, we pulled 12 of those. And then Brilliant Blender, we pulled 11 of those. A-Specs are fairly easy to pull. You pull a couple of them per booster box normally. The biggest A-Spec in existence right now is the Prime Catcher, but that one is getting reprinted in those new Charizard battle decks that are coming out next week or very, very soon, and that price point is going to drop considerably. If we go down and look at the illustration rares, there's a decent amount of illustration rares in Surging Sparks, a couple more than what we saw in Twilight Masquerade, so a little bit more difficult to pull because there are more available. We're just going to kind of go through these. Again, not too many anomalies. There are a few weird ones in here that we'll kind of go over. So Execute, we pulled 11 of. For the most part, I would say 6, 7, 8 was kind of the common theme. As you can see, we pulled 7 Vivillin, we pulled 8 Shinotic, the Cast Form, Sunny Form, we pulled 7 of those. Larvesta, that was the one we pulled the second most of. We pulled 12 of those. Cerulege, very cool looking illustration one, we pulled 7 of. The Phoebus is really cool because it has that matching art, that connecting art with the Milotic. We pulled 8 of those. We pulled 7 of the Spheal. We pulled 5 of the Clownfish. That's the Bruxish. That's a little bit on the low end. The Satitan we pulled 6 of. Stunfisk we pulled 10 of. The Latios, which is the biggest one in the set right now, selling for around $45. It did drop at one point on TCG Player to about 38, but now it's rising back up. 7 of those. The Mesprit we pulled 13 of. That was the one that we pulled the most of by a fair amount. Phanpy we pulled 8 of. Vibrava we pulled 10 of. Clobopus, again, a little bit lower end killer. We only pulled 5 of those. Alolan Dugtrio we pulled 7. Skarmory, which is a really cool illustration, we only pulled 3 of. That's a very low number. So I'm not going to call it an anomaly because there is a wide variance when it comes to the illustration rares, and I don't like the idea of a conspiracy theory behind batching, but it's always something that comes up. A little weird that we pulled only 3 of those, and we pulled 13 Mesprit. It's very common to pull 7, 8 when you have a sample size of over 2,000 packs, but going down to only 3 of one seems a little bit low. Flapple we pulled 7 of. Appleton we pulled 7 of. Slackoth we pulled 11 of. The Kecleon we pulled 8 of. And the Bravery we pulled 8 of as well. So if we go over to the full arts, or what they are called in the Scarlet and Violet generation world as ultra rares, again, not too many anomalies in this one as well. So we've got the Durant EX at the top. We pulled 7 of those. The Scovillain we pulled 6 of. The Milotic we pulled 8 of those. The Black Kyurem, that was the one that we pulled the least of. We only pulled 3 of those. So if you look at similar pull rates to the illustration rares, full art's a little bit more difficult to pull than illustration rares. 3 of those, a little small, a little low. It did take us a very long time to pull that first Black Kyurem. That was the last full art we needed. I think when we were pulling the master set, there was only 3 other cards that we needed to find. We needed to find the Gold Counter Gain, the Latias, and actually I think the Black Kyurem was the other one. Those were the last 3 that we needed to complete the master set. So the Black Kyurem did take a fair amount of time to find. Then we've got the Pikachu EX. Oh, we also needed that one right there. Pikachu EX full art Terra card. We pulled 5 of those. The Latias EX full art we pulled 8 of. The Palossand we pulled 5 of. Flygon 4, Hydreigon 8, Archaludon, that's the one we pulled the most of. We pulled 12 of those. The Alolan Executor we pulled 7 of. The Tatsugiri we pulled 9. The Slaking we pulled 6. Cyclizar was 6. Clement's Quick Wit, that was the one we pulled the most of as far as the full art supporters go. We pulled 12 of those. The Cyrano we pulled 5. Drasna 9. Drayton 6. Jasmine's Gaze we pulled 8 of. Lisia's Appeal was not bad. This again is the full art, not the special illustration where we pulled 10 of those, and 6 of the Surfer. If we look at special illustration rares, that Latias was the most difficult one for us to pull. Now, again, we're not going to talk about batching or anything like that. It was weird that it took over 2,000 packs. Theoretically, if you go based off of pull rates of like Twilight Masquerade, it should take 68 packs to pull one. So that means with the amount of special illustration rares in here, you would think maybe about 13, 14, 1,500 packs it would take to master this set based off of variance numbers and things like that. Obviously, 2,100 packs is a little bit high. Maybe we just had terrible luck when it came to finding that Latias. But Durant, we pulled 4 of those. The Milotic, we pulled 2 of. The Pikachu EX, which has really started to climb, currently up to about $390, $400 on TCG Player, which is insane, and continuing to move in that upward direction. Latias EX, that was the one we only found 1 of them. We opened up a couple more boxes after we found it, still only 1, so only 1 of those. Hydreigon we pulled 3 of. The Archaludon we pulled 5 of. Alolan Executor special illustration. This is my favorite card in the set. We pulled 4 of those. Clement's Quick Wit we pulled 4 of. Drayton, Jasmine's Appeal, or Jasmine's Gaze, and Lisia's Appeal, we pulled 3 of each of those. So very similar pull rates on all of them for the most part, except for Latias, which we only pulled 1 of. But again, there is a fair amount. I think you have 11 special illustration rares in the set, so variants can describe a lot of that as well. And if we go down to the hyper rare, these were tough to pull. If you want to talk about numbers that might have changed, hyper rares continue to get more and more difficult to pull. Maybe we had bad luck, but a low count when it comes to hyper rare, and I'll dive more into that in just a second here. But Pikachu EX, it took us a long time to pull this. If you watch the video where we opened up 300 booster packs, I think we posted that on Tuesday, we still needed the Pikachu EX gold card, the hyper rare. So we needed that one, and then we needed the special illustration where Latias. We opened up 300 packs hoping to find it. We did pull the gold Pikachu EX, and then we pulled the second gold Pikachu EX in the same opening. And then while we were continuing to hunt for the Latias, we pulled a third Pikachu Pikachu EX. So a little crazy on that. Alolan Executor, we pulled 3 of those. The counter gain we pulled 1 of, so 2,200 packs, only 1 counter gain, which is crazy. Gravity Mountain we pulled 2 of. Night Stretcher we pulled 4, and then Jet Energy we pulled 3. So if we break this all down based off of pull rates, we're going to look on the left-hand side. The one thing that I do want to point out is your average hits per box is really, really strong. If we compare this to other sets you're looking at about 12.5, maybe 13. You get almost a full additional hit per booster box. It looks like based off of this sample size, which is very, very strong. 2,232 packs that were opened, 62 total boxes. We'll break down prices on each boxes. I'll give you a glimpse of what I think it was like 20 boxes that I took pictures of that we can break down and look at price points and things like that after the dust settles from opening weekend. But about 14 hits per booster box, 14.15 hits. There were some boxes where we got as many as 17 hits. There were unfortunately a couple boxes where we got only like 11 hits. So all over the place, a very wide variety. If you're paying $150 on booster box, and this is why it's so important to buy singles as well. If you're paying $150 for a booster box and you get that lower end of only like 11 hits, with one full art being, let's say a surfer, a full art surfer, and that's it, you're gonna feel like you really missed out, like you really got cheated, which is unfortunate. That's why I kind of wish the way that Japanese does it in their booster box system with kind of guaranteed pull rates is a little bit more attractive than what we have in the English set. But obviously you could get a banger. You get a box. We had a couple boxes where you pulled a gold card and a special illustration rare. So it's the gamble. It's very, very difficult, but 14 hits per booster box is very strong. Your average double rare is 1 out of every 6 packs, so you're going to get about 6.16 per booster box. Very rarely did we get less than 6 in a booster box. A lot of times it was 6, sometimes it was 7, seldomly it was 7, but very rarely would it be less than 6, which is very, very good. A-Specs, a little bit less. It looks like you're getting about 1.82 per booster box, which is 1 out of every 20 packs you open up a booster box. You should get 2, but a lot of times you might only get 1. Average ultra rares, you're looking at about 1 out of every 15 packs, so about 2.42 per booster box. Usually what it breaks down to is a full art supporter and a full art Pokemon, and then additionally you might get a full art Terra Pokemon as well. Usually it's going to be right between 2 and 3 ultra rares per booster box, but again, usually you get 1 special illustration or a hyper rare, so it's usually like a full art supporter and a full art Pokemon, and then either an additional full art Pokemon or a special illustration or a hyper rare is kind of how things break down for booster boxes. Average illustration rare is very, very similar to what we have seen in the past. I thought this was going to be a little bit lower, but based off of sample size, very accurate with what we've had in the past. 2.94 per booster box, 1 out of every 12 packs. So if you open up a booster box, you should have 3 illustration rares in it. You might get 2 every once in a while. You might get 2. We had no booster boxes that had more than 3 and none that had less than 2. So it was either 2 or 3, with I'd say 80% of the time it being 3 per booster box, which is very, very strong. So you should continue to see 3 illustration rares per booster box, and then special illustration rares, very similar, a little bit easier to pull, it seems like, than what we saw in Stellar Crown. But again, the big difference between this set and Stellar Crown is the set size. Stellar Crown, you only have like 6 or 7 special illustration rares, whereas here you have 11, so you have more to pull from. So 66 packs, basically 2 booster boxes. Every time you open up 2 booster boxes, you should theoretically get 1 special illustration rare. 0.55 per booster box, 1 out of every 66 packs. If we look at the hyper rares, that's the gold cards. This is the one that got significantly stronger, and this is a big enough difference that I think it's worth noting. It went from about 1 out of every 3 booster boxes to about 1 out of every 4 booster boxes, so 0.26 or 1 out of 140 packs. Now, the set size, very similar with what we've seen with Twilight Masquerade. It has the exact same amount of hyper rares. They were just more difficult for us to pull. Now, it could be that we just got unlucky and we didn't open up enough boxes, and that we just didn't get enough. We open up a lot more boxes, and maybe we'll pull more hyper rares and all even out. But as of right now, based off of 62 booster boxes of data, less than what we were expecting. Usually it's around 108, 110 booster packs, which is about 3 boxes. Hyper rares in this one, about 1 out of every 4 boxes, which is a little weird, so 0.26. If we look in the past here, and I'm going to get my ugly mug out of the way, Paradox Rift, when things really started changing, and really just going to focus on special illustration rares and hyper rares here, so you can see special illustrations a little bit more difficult to pull, starting with Paradox Rift. It was 1 out of 47 packs, so normally with Paldea Evolve, Scarlet and Violet Base, Obsidian Flames, you're going to get 2 special illustration rares illustration per box. It ended up being about like 1.5, and then you would also have a 0.5 pull rate for hyper rares, which means you would either get 2 special illustration rares per box, or you would get 1 special illustration rare and 1 gold card per box. Things changed starting with Paradox Rift, where you got 1 per box basically. It broke down to 1 per box. Very rarely would you get 1 special illustration rare and 1 hyper rare in the same box when it came to Paradox Rift. So about 47 packs for special illustration rares, about 72 packs for hyper rares, 1 out of every 2 booster boxes. Then you can see Temporal Forces, everything changed. Things went completely the opposite direction. Special illustration rares became much more difficult to pull, 1 out of every 78 packs, or basically 1 out of every 2 boxes, a little bit more difficult than that. And hyper rares went up to about 125 packs, so a lot closer to what we're looking at right now when it comes to Surging Sparks. Twilight Masquerade, a little bit easier, 113 packs for a hyper rare, 1 out of every 3-ish boxes. In your special illustration rares, about 1 out of every 2 boxes, much like what we're looking at right now with Surging Sparks, 1 out of every 68 packs. And again, more difficult with Stellar Crown, but there was less available in Stellar Crown, so it was about 161 packs for a hyper rare, so much closer to what we're looking at right now. So I thought maybe it would go back to this level, about 1 out of every 3 boxes for Surging Sparks, because we had 6 hyper rares, whereas Stellar Crown you had less, but it's very, very close to the same pattern as Stellar Crown, just more options to pull from, which makes it more difficult to master, unfortunately. So 161 packs for Stellar Crown to pull a hyper rare, and what was it for this set? 140. So much closer to what we experienced in Stellar Crown for those hyper rares. Special illustration rares, 1 out of every 87 packs in Stellar Crown. Much easier than that, it looks like, for Surging Sparks, but again, there is more to pull of, almost twice as many to pull of in Surging Sparks. So you open up a box, basically you should theoretically get either a special illustration rare or a hyper rare. Very rarely will you get 1 of each per booster box, but you should get 1. I would say probably 70% of the time, 75% of the time, you'll get 1. But every once in a while, 1 of those boxes in that case, maybe 2 of those boxes in that case, is not going to have either, which is unfortunate. I wish they would kind of do what they did with Paradox Rift. I mean, that was kind of the sweet point, where you got basically 1 at least per booster box. But I mean, this is obviously, we'll see what happens. I mean, this is obviously, things are different than what they were. It's still easier than what it was with the alternate arts, so beggars can't be choosers. It was, I think, probably a bit too easy with the beginning of the Scarlet and Violet generation, but it's always very interesting to watch. It's going to be very interesting to see how Prismatic Evolution breaks down. Obviously, we're going to be getting our first experience in English Master Ball, so there will be an additional reverse holo to collect. The master set that we give away is going to be a complete nightmare to try and put together. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. Hopefully pull everything, and if not, it's going to be tough because the demand is there, and I'm going to want to make sure that I can provide as many customers as I can with packs, but also obviously want to make sure that we can give away the master set as well to 1 lucky subscriber. So I hope you enjoy the content. If you did, please hit that subscribe button down below, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the pull rates here, how your experience has been. You guys are awesome. I love you. We'll be back on Sunday with another video. Until next time, peace!